Hello and welcome back to the second part of the interview that I was able to do with two of the Harry Potter 2 devs. If you haven't seen part 1, you absolutely should. I'll link it up here. Additionally to that, obviously, the description will have some links to the two people I have the honor of interviewing today, so please go ahead and check out their projects and everything they do now. They've made your childhood after all. I assume that's why you're on this video, so please go ahead and show them some appreciation. So there's quite the highlight in this second half of the interview that I was looking forward to like a lot, because I actually went ahead and showed them some speedrun strats. So that's where we start off. Hope you enjoy their reaction to them. Have fun.
Why was Peeves so scary? I opened every chest with fear after he jumped out of one. That's me. I swear, I was constantly pushing for as hard as possible to have it be legitimately scary and difficult. I mean, so that's probably my fault. Matter of fact, it's funny. I have a daughter. She's 11 now, but I tried to get her to play Chamber of Secrets a few years ago, and she noped out with the turtles that fart out fireballs.
Oh yeah, those.
She completely noped out of that. It's very terrifying for her. So she's like, it's just too scary.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, I said it on stream earlier actually, but for me it was the imps that I couldn't play as a kid. Where I had my parents to come in and essentially play them for me or do them for me.
Really?
Yeah. Them chasing you, it's just, I don't know, kid me did not like that. They were too fast and did too much damage. There's like the Scourge challenge, essentially. You might remember it when you see it, where the star is like right at the start. It's just down there, but you can't quite reach it. But there is a bit of like, we call it a wall walk. It's like a bit of a, wait, why did this happen? That's not how I made that. Huh? Okay, I cut that wrong, I think, but essentially there's like, I can't show that now because for some reason that's cut off.
I saw you do it a few times in your other stream.
Yeah, there's like a spot in the wall you can stand on pretty much, and then you just jump over and you're just right at the star, and it's like a 9-second challenge.
Oh, no way. Oh, I'd love to see that. That's interesting.
Yeah, I can maybe do that live, but there's like another example here, for example, on the maze. You can just land in there, there's just a bit of collision.
I saw that, yeah.
Oh my god, there's a little invisible collision there.
Yeah.
Yeah, this stuff makes me cringe. I'm like, damn it.
Yeah, me too. Like, stuff we missed, basically. This is the kind of shit that was, excuse me, this is the kind of stuff that would come down to testing and be immediately fixed and get rid of. 100%. Yeah.
We had an in-house testing group, which was pretty cool, right? Most game studios of our size did not have an in-house testing group, and we tested it pretty thoroughly in the time we had. But it's one of those things where you can't go back and change it after it's released back then, right? There was no way to do it.
No patches. Yeah, I mean, I think it took us a long time to find all of the things we have, so I think the testing was still done very well. This thing's probably the biggest we can show off, which I believe is an Unreal Engine problem. But essentially, whenever you grab a latch and you change the brightness, in window mode though, like it doesn't work in full screen, you see Harry move up a tiny bit, so he pops up. And if you chain that, then he moves up a lot. And if you chain that with reloading the game, so we bind F2 to the shortcut, and then while you press it in the game, then you can essentially fly up as much as you want. So now I press F2, and then, yeah, that's the Willow level.
I know why that is. That's because the game is still simulating in the background while you're going into the menu. So if Harry's in mid-movement, it'll keep moving. You're in the menu just a little, and then that's why. That makes sense. You're right that it was an Unreal Engine thing, but it's something we could have gotten around and fixed. Once again, had it been pointed out to us.
Yeah, it's pretty specific. So
hilarious.
I know that other Unreal Engine games have it as well. For example, Brother Bear, which I believe is also a No Wonder game. So
yeah, we worked on that. Yeah, we made that as well.
Nice.
Yeah, so
we probably used the same menu code.
It's used in a couple of games. Yeah, especially strong in like level like this, where you just have to go up, obviously.
Can you do it in Lemony Snicket?
Oh, that's a good question, actually. I don't think so, but I'm not entirely sure. It's been a while since I've seen that run. Oh yeah, this one's probably going to be frustrating, especially if the cutscene was annoying to make. But there is the Dumbledore cutscene, which is one of the unskippable ones, which just triggers here. But we can use the momentum of the staircase and actually jump around that. So we never trigger that. So that saves 2 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And if you jump back, you have a funny side effect with the cutscene. And McGonagall falls down.
Awesome.
And then eventually Harry
Fantastic.
follows as well. So that actually saves a lot. It doesn't look like much, but it's one of the bigger ones.
Oh boy.
Well, you're welcome.
This one's gonna be probably quite difficult to explain for me, but the Quidditch warps. I think I paused this for a second, but if you enter some level, it doesn't work on all of them. There's a way to teleport out of it and play Quidditch instead. So you don't have to play the level, but you could play Quidditch. So if
I saw you doing that in the stream. I was like, what is he doing?
Yeah, it's just a bunch of like button presses. So you start off going to the Quidditch menu and click on any match, and then you press escape, go out of it. Oh no, that actually not escape. F4, that's the important one, and then map, and then escape again. So I can show it again. Can I show it again? I can. So we believe at least that this is like a remainder of the debug mode potentially, because I think you activate that on F4. So yeah, F4 now, and then map and escape, and you can just click on it and it works.
Interesting. Okay.
Oh. I don't remember. What is F4? Do you remember what F4? I don't remember. Was F4? Was something?
We definitely had a debug key.
Was that a debug key? Is that what that was?
Yeah, there were like 3 or 4 debug keys up there.
Yeah, I believe F4 is the one that brings up like the level select, amongst other things probably.
It's interesting that was activated at all. I thought we shut all that stuff off for the shipping version. Weird.
This one to skip like the end of Boomslang, because those mushrooms are actually quite useful if you drop them in controlled places, because they do still have collision after they get dropped. So you can build yourself a little staircase.
Awesome.
Which I've issues to jump on,
So-
but
That's funny.
Oh my god! Wow.
and if you like
Wow.
that one, then you're probably gonna like this one even more when it comes to geometry abuse, because that Pixie also has a hitbox. And
Oh my god!
there you go.
Look at that! Badass! That's
Oh
so
my
cool.
God.
Nice
Wow.
playing. Oh boy, I love it.
Oh yeah, and I have a section that's just gnomes are cool. I assume that's one of the more known things, that you can duplicate certain things. Like this toilet, you're only supposed to cast on once, right? It's a cool secret, by the way, with the gnome coming out. But if you put the same gnome behind, once I get there, and then you cast on it again, and the Flipendo hits the toilet, you still spawn like infinite, essentially.
Oh wow.
So you can flood your game with gnomes. And
Needs a do once.
they can also make potions, which I assume makes sense. I guess they're like an actor in the game or something. So if you throw them at a cauldron, they just make the potions for you, no matter how far away you are.
Okay. Wow.
Say that again. You're throwing the ingredients at the cauldron?
You throw the gnome, if you just,
Throw the gnome.
no matter where you are, and once it hits, the ingredients go in.
Oh, weird. So
I guess nobody ever.
The cauldron must just
Nobody ever
accept
threw
just
a
a
gnome.
collision. It must be that the
Yeah.
cauldron's like when touched, then take out ingredients. And we didn't say when player touched. We just said when touched.
This is funny because
That's awesome.
even to this day, as I'm teaching kids, we still use Unreal, right? And there's these commands in Unreal for doing things once and for not accepting any, collision except for,
Yeah.
the main character. And this is obviously like we just didn't do that part, right? No.
Yep. Nope. Just like when collide, take potion ingredients, make potions. Oh, that's
Great.
funny.
It causes some cool things. With potions, there's actually more as well. When you're trying to make them with Harry this time, we have to wait a second. But if you angle yourself just right and you put the UI potions out of bounds behind the wall, kind of like so, then they actually don't fly into the cauldron, and you still make the potions, which is also a cool abuse of this mechanic. So we still have like all 20 ingredients.
What the? You're saying only if you go behind it?
Yeah, it's like the way I understand it, like the ingredients, the UI has to be behind the wall, like out of bounds. Like right now, it's essentially behind the wall, so I think the wall blocks it.
That's
from
not it.
flying.
That's not it. That's definitely not it. No. Totally unrelated. That's not. It's something else. I'm very curious to know what that is, though.
Same,
You got me
same,
curious. I want to dive in and find out what that bug is. That's really interesting.
Then
Oh,
I
this is
guess
so cool.
our solution was entirely wrong. But I'm curious what causes this then.
Yeah. Huh. wacko. How does that make any sense? If the code is fairly straightforward, if you touch it, then take the ingredients and send the potions, how would it not take the ingredients and make the potions anyway? I don't understand how that's possible.
They must be. Do the ingredients fly in from an angle? Is that? They don't fly in or anything, do they?
I mean, in a normal...
we have it. Like, when you normally do it, I don't think they fly in, do they?
They fly.
Yeah, they do.
Like,
They do. They do fly in from the direction.
Oh, see, that's it. So they're right. Yeah, it's because they're trying to fly in, but they're hitting the wall probably.
Oh, but you think you'd still be losing it though? They should still be spawning. Maybe it's even failing at spawning.
Maybe it's not making it. It's not making it to the pot, which is the thing that makes them count down.
But you think it would still count down, right? It's just, the countdown happens the second that it leaves, right? But it's possible that maybe it's just failing to spawn and therefore not doing that. Okay. Yeah, okay.
We need to get some. We're not programmers, right? So.
Well, I kind of didn't.
I'm a junior programmer.
I definitely am now. I've learned a little lot in 20 years, but
Yeah. But we could ask the programmers, right? So that would be a thing. Hey, get another guest on here.
Yeah.
The guy who programmed that. We can figure out.
Yeah, for sure. They might remember.
Awesome. I'm very down for that.
But you are right. Okay, good point. The fact that we do spawn the thing from the camera at that location where the thing is, it probably does have something to do with that. That it's trying to spawn the object outside the bounds and saying, nope, can't spawn it. And because it's not spawning it, it's not counting down the counter. So yeah, that makes sense.
More things as well. There's actually a couple gnomes you can stand on. I think usually on default you bounce off them. But in the Bicon level, you can actually stand on it, and it's quite good to go through objects. It's not really fast, but it's just a cool thing to do, because he can push you through stuff like doors and other like thin walls that don't kill you.
Oh,
so that's a neat one.
How did you do that? Because you have an object, you're holding an object, and that somehow allows you to...
we're just on his head, so we're standing like on top of his head, and if he moves, like he can push you through. So he moves in like circles.
I see. That makes sense. Yeah, you're just cheating the collision system because you're because of the code that has you moving because of him. Yeah, clever. Wow, this is so neat.
There is like a leftover like debug command, which is set hairy fatness to whatever you want. So you can make him like very, very thick, for example. And yeah, we were always wondering, where does this come in handy in the game? Like, why is this here?
That is an Easter egg. 100% Easter egg.
There's an Easter egg, yeah. There were a bunch of them.
Do you remember, Eric, the one where it allows you to basically pull out a shotgun and start blasting creatures? Like the Doom mode? Do you remember that?
Is it this one where if you jump, it sets off all the triggers? Everything next to you?
Yeah, exactly.
So that was that one. And then there was a different one where you're super tall and skinny. And then maybe a couple more.
But do you remember that one, Eric? I'm talking about?
No, it's just...
The Doom one? The Doom mode one? Where you
blast
creature? You don't remember that? I thought a bunch of us snuck it in. I don't know if anybody
I don't
found
remember
it.
that.
Okay.
So it's just
like... Basically, it turns your wand into a literal gun. You just walk around blasting enemies. Like.
That sounds great.
And they tried to take all that stuff out, right? We put tons of stuff in there.
It might have gotten taken out at the end there. Yeah.
We had things where Harry Potter would catch on fire and scream and...
Oh, that's still in the first one.
Pretty terrible things, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's still in the first one. I think.
Is it?
I
still in there?
So, yeah.
Wow.
Sorry.
Well, it's fun to discover those, like all those years later. You talked about Easter eggs, though. Is there any that you put in about yourself? Because I'm pretty sure the PlayStation 1 devs put themselves as like paintings into the game. Is there anything like that for this game?
Yeah, we did that.
We did?
Well, it might be the first game. Is this one has the portraits, or is it the first game that has the portraits?
I mean, both kind of have portraits.
So, my portrait that you see, I don't know if you can tell, but like me, the portrait I chose for my Twitch guy, that's the portrait for me in the game.
I don't remember that. It must have been for the first game. That must have been the first game, Eric. I don't remember that at all. I don't think we had portraits.
Yeah, maybe it was the first game.
The second one, yeah.
One thing in the first game was, I don't know if you I haven't looked at it recently, but Wingardium Leviosa.
Mm-hmm.
You know how you can move those blocks around?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yep. I'm sure the chat knows.
When they first put that in, right, and we're playing the game, and I'm kind of one of those guys when I go to play a game, I always turn around and go the other direction to see if I can break it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they put Wingardium Leviosa in, and you could move those blocks everywhere, right? And so I would move them around and stand on them and fly them around, and I'd be like, and I'd send out a screenshot and I'd say, "How did I get here?" And the programmers would be like, and they go in and try to fix it, and they'd fix that one, and then I go back in and I'd be like, "How did I get here?" And then they'd go, damn it, and they get more and more upset. And then finally, at some point, they were like, "I think we just need to cut this." And I'm like, "Oh, no, please don't cut it," And I stopped trying to break it at that point.
Yeah, it's pretty much what speedrunners do, I think. It's a pretty good description of how people find glitches, even till this day. If you had more time, what would you have changed or worked more on, if anything, really?
The funny thing about this game is it's almost like it's a good thing we stopped when we did, kind of a thing. Because it wasn't supposed to have as much as it had in it, right? I was sort of, I know Greg says that we planned it all out and everybody knew what we were going to do and everything, but, that's kind, I feel like. I was actually doing a ton of shit behind the scenes that nobody really knew I was doing. I was trying to make Grand Theft Auto Harry Potter, right? So I'm the one who kind of, I don't know if I thought of it or whatever, but I just kept making it, right? Having all the different modes in the hub and being able to go around and have people lead you around to different things and everything.
Yep.
And they really had no idea how difficult that was to achieve. And if they had known, they would have never let us even try to do that.
I love that part of the game. Absolutely love it. That's one of my favorite parts, man. The fact that the fact that the characters in Hogwarts kept up with what was going on, and that the voices and the VO you got was in sync with where the story was at that moment, right? So when you're being suspected of being the Slytherin bad guy, related to Salazar Slytherin, that they all kind of like whispering behind your back and things like that, and that's like one of the best parts of the game. It really felt like we were doing justice to the story. I think my answer to that question is definitely the final level, because I'm telling you, it was awesome. It was working so well. I mean, and it was. I think it would have been a fantastic crowning moment for the game. So I would have liked another couple weeks to do that. And also, we had the original concept behind the intro sequence with the car flying with the plane. That was actually originally going to be playable.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Eric. Yeah, we had.
Yeah,
we had that.
no. That's another sad moment.
Yeah, because that was going to be a pretty fun little intro to the game, where you'd actually be flying a car and doing the weight stuff and clouds going by. I mean, all these really cool, and the whole thing just got turned into a cutscene because of time. So yeah,
and then that cutscene ended up being really long, and that's I apologize for that, but that's what happens when you cut gameplay, right? And then that cutscene was even longer. Like I cut that cutscene down by half. Could have been even worse. So you're welcome.
It's pretty much just a big plane flyby, whoa moment now, right? That's how it ended up. Yeah, which is cool. I'm glad we were able to use that plane. That was something else I really wanted to have, was the sense of scale, and the sense of like an actual airplane with the real scale going by, to get a sense of how, what you're doing. You're actually flying, right? Up with the planes, kind of thing.
Yeah. It's very loud as well for some reason. I'm not sure if that's a new Windows thing or like on newer systems or whatever, but for some reason that volume.
We wanted it to be loud.
Yeah,
we turned it up.
Oh, you did it on purpose?
We wanted the player to be scared, like, oh god, play! Ah!
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, you achieved that. I think that's fair to say. There's the Gryffindor challenge in the files, which is like the level that is behind the door in Gryffindor Common Room, but you can't get there. And I heard it was supposed to be like a promotion for like Pepsi or Coca-Cola or something like that. Is there the full story behind that?
Okay, I do recall this. It was going to be a free demo, and actually I recall Phil Cole and I sitting down to design that level. And we had a concept for a level that was a section of Hogwarts where the level would be entirely upside down. So you'd be walking on the ceiling, and the floor would be the ceiling, and that there'd be puzzles involving that, where you'd have to interact with things that are on the ceiling, and fly up and be a combination of multiple spells. It was going to be quite this thing. But I recall the people involved in the promo and everything looked at what we were doing and said, "What?" Like they wanted something really, really simple, and we were going way over the top, because this was one of the last levels we worked on. So Phil and I had all the experience of all the levels in the game pretty much being there already. So we were like, okay, let's really put our heads together and make the coolest level for this, right? We thought it was a good idea at the time, but I can understand now why the marketing peeps maybe didn't go for it, because it was once again new gameplay, new stuff, right? That right? So not particularly indicative of the whole game per se, but it was interesting for us to try to build it. So I'm pretty certain that's what Gryffindor Challenge was going to be.
Yeah,
It's going to be this. Yeah.
That sounds really cool, actually. That's a level I would have loved to see, actually. If you go and activate debug mode in the game, then you have the difficulty choices, actually. So you can choose between easy, normal, and hard, which seems like a pretty, seems like a element that I feel like could have been kept in, or was it also just scratched because it would have made the game too hard?
It's a really good question. I don't quite remember exactly what happened with that. I suspect it does come down to the fact that I wouldn't have had time to balance the game 3 different times for 3 different levels.
Yeah.
And at the same time, like, I know we didn't want to have necessarily spawning. Yeah, I think that's what it was. That's what it was, because it's like if you're spawning more enemies, then it does need to be, where you gotta play through the whole thing on hard, play through the whole thing on medium, play through the whole thing on easy, and make sure it's working in all 3 cases and that they're all distinctly different and stuff. And at that time, it was just way over scope. So I think we just said, screw it. Just couldn't do it.
Yeah, that makes sense. That
it's definitely a project that came out of pressure for sure. We were all under very strict deadlines. So in order to try to make sure that the resulting game was good, we had to make calls all the time to simplify and cut and streamline, just to ensure that that the experience would work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know there's like one thing that's really changed, which is actually the snake on hard. Like there's actually different attacks, which is pretty cool. But yeah, definitely understandable. Yeah, that one was apparently made in hard. There's like a lunge attack essentially that it does that doesn't appear in the normal game.
Fantastic. That's really cool to hear. So you're basically you found the way to put the game into hard, and you played the game, and you saw this extra stuff. Yeah. So that's awesome. So you're getting bits and pieces of what would have been had we been able to keep going. But what Eric said is kind of true. I mean, the whole thing came together because we were all really wanted to make something really cool, but we knew the deadline was tight. So it's like it's hard to know. I guess if we had 3 or 4 months, well, some of these things might have made it in, basically. And it just keeps scaling, though. We were all very passionate. There's always new ideas coming up. So there's kind of an endless amount of things you could do, but it had to come down to what we had no choice but to do. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Scope is very hard, and there's only so much you can get done, and you always overestimate, right? What
it's
you think
really
you can do.
easy
so there's
to
probably
overestimate.
another whole Harry Potter game that didn't get made.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I think we were going for. I think we all would love to have had it be a truly dynamic open world, like what games are now today. Lots of games work that way just fine, right? But we were trying to create that feeling of one back before they even existed, right? The hub, and it would expand, open, and unlock, and then you'd have the spells that you have things that you saw, but you couldn't access them until you got the spell that allowed you to access them. And then you could also walk around and go wherever you wanted to. So it did have an open world feel, right?
Yeah, I mean the open world. I think for me as a kid, it was very amazing. I can tell you that much. So even that open world, it was mind blowing back then for me. What is your favorite spell in the game? I think that's actually a pretty good one if you do remember them well enough.
Flipendo for me. It's my favorite spell for sure. Flipendo. All the different ways you push things, and how that was used everywhere. For me, I think that was the most ubiquitous spell. The other ones all had their place for sure. But that's my answer. What about you, Eric? What's your favorite spell?
I'm just gonna have to go with Wingardium Leviosa. I don't know if that was that even in the second game.
It did not quite make it.
It was such a cool spell. I don't know. We could have done a lot with that. I have my imagination was, man, we could like take these bricks out and like build a world with them. Just like before Minecraft, it was just like that was what I was thinking in my head. It was like this could be so cool. So that would be my favorite.
Right, that's the spell where you can levitate objects, right? And that definitely had. As far as that never came up as something we could use for the second one, because that would have tons of possibilities for puzzle solving and such. Grab a block, move it around, put it into a spot, and then trigger something, or all kinds of possibilities.
Yeah, I think that's actually kind of the only one that didn't really make a reappearance from the first one. There's only like Incendio and Defendo I'd use interchangeably because they both like defeat plants, but yeah, I think that's the only one that's HP 1 only.
Spongify would be one. I assume that was that in all of the games, or
F2 and
that was
3.
definitely in Secret Secrets. That's the
Spongify was fun.
The bouncy pad.
Like it was like literally like sort of a nothing thing, right? It's just, oh well, we have the bounce pad from Unreal Tournament 2. What do we do with it? You know, and we made Spongify, and it's like surprisingly rewarding, right? And then we combined it with other mechanics, and it turns into something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was a cool one.
That's probably the one I would pick as well. Spongify is good fun to mess around with as well. They changed Flipendo to Depulso in HP3, and that's a thing because it was such an iconic spell. Do you know why that decision was made and they cut Flipendo when that game came out?
No, I have no memory of that. Sorry.
No, that's totally fair. Would have been interesting as a
I could probably
background.
go figure it
I
out.
didn't even know this. I never even played the third game. To be honest. So they
Played the third game.
I should. So you're saying that they changed the name of it, so it had the same functionality and still push things, but it was called something different?
It was called Depulso afterwards, and it was also like pushing buttons and pushing stuff around, and so pretty much.
Might have been. Maybe it was that whole, now we're in the third year thing, so we need a better spell. Maybe it might have been that thing.
Yeah, like
that's the same thing. That's so lame. It's just,
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
At least you didn't have a spell challenge to learn it. It just you just got it at the start, so I guess it was fine. It's been quite the event, I think, for HP speedrunning. People have been looking forward to this quite a bit.
That's really cool. That's fantastic to see that video of all the ways you've exploited our game. That's wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear. You guys are not mad. That's good.
Exact opposite.
That's
joyful.
No, never would have imagined that people would still be playing this game after all these years.
Isn't it amazing? It's mind-blowing, isn't it? Yeah. Blows my mind. That's really cool. Thanks for the opportunity, Nixxo. It was wonderful. And wonderful to meet all of you, to see all of you. Yeah. Thanks for playing. After all these years, seriously, it utterly blows my mind. I was actually out with somebody at a local indie game gathering, and I had to mention that I worked on this project. And I got why is like, that's my favorite game ever. Someone just completely flipped out at me, saying how that was their favorite game ever of their childhood, and then she walked up and told her boyfriend and was all excited because she wanted to prove that it was the only game that she said her boyfriend had to play. This was Chamber of Secrets. I'm not joking. It's like, oh my god, whoa. Couldn't believe it.
Yeah, the game has quite a fan base. So thank you so much to both of you for taking the time and coming out here. Absolutely, if you still want to, we can redo this at some point. I would be very much down. I'll leave you any last words. Maybe there's some other projects you want to plug or anything. Absolutely, feel free to.
I would love if you guys were to check out what we're doing. If any of you guys that are into VR, we have a new VR game coming up very soon. It's not announced yet, but that's also happening very soon. It's almost done. The game's almost finished. It's called Consortium VR. If you go to Interdimensional Games or idgi1.ca, that's our website. We're a small indie game company, but very, very proud of what we have coming up. Basically, VR interactive cinema. So it's heavy into it's a sci-fi interactive narrative experience. Where you get to actually talk your lines, talk directly to NPCs, and then the story evolves itself around your choices and decisions. We're really proud of it. It'd be really cool if you guys were to check us out. I mean, we have regular Steam updates every day on the every month on the 21st. You can go to our current games on Steam, Consortium and Consortium the Tower, and you can keep up with our updates. And there's my plug.
Yeah, no, that sounds really great indeed. So go and support chat. Cool.
Thank you.
No, and my plug would be Ringling College of Art and Design in Sarasota, Florida. Sunny Sarasota, Florida.
Nice.
Beautiful white sand beaches. And you can have me as your game design instructor. We have a game art major and we have a VR major as well. So
nice.
There you go.
Yeah, that's very cool. If people live in the area, I know there's my audience is actually mostly American, I think, looking at the stats. So there might be some people nearby. I think that's gonna be it from us for now. So thank you so much, everyone, for watching and hanging out. Really insane seeing that many people. Once I can only repeat myself, thanks to both of you for joining in, taking part in this.
One final question before this interview: when did Gregory and Eric last talk to each other? A decade ago at Game Developers Conference.
Yeah. which is so cool. Actually, I'm glad to see this reunion as well.
Me too. Wonderful.
Yeah, so have a good rest of your day, chat, or a good rest of your night. I don't know what the time zones are.
You too.
Take care, stay healthy, everyone, and see everyone around. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Cheers.
Bye.